Happy Friday. Welcome to the Market Mindset. It's Andrew. Hopefully, you're having a great week. It looks like it's going to be a wonderful weekend here in Calgary. It's going to be like 27 degrees, which it should be. I mean, we're coming into summer. It's going to be June in 8 days. So we wanted to talk today about, a little kind of view of two different ways of governing and looking at the world and as a country, and looking at under the auspices or under the coverage of Brookfield just announcing that they're putting 100 billion into India. Now, of course, Brookfield is our Prime Minister Carney's old company. He was the chairman of. And once again, I'm not trying to keep this political in the sense that I'm chastising anyone, but one would hope that if you were the leader of a country, you'd be acting more like Trump, where you're trying to self-deal and bring deals into your country and say, listen, I have ties with Brookfield. Let's get them to invest $50 billion into Canada because guess what? I'm the prime minister here. That's not happening. So it's just a very interesting conversation to be had. So we're seeing capital moving fast globally, tons of it. I think Trump's done about 3.5 trillion into the US. That's huge. Almost all of it has skipped Canada. Still, we've got an economist, Bank of Canada, Bank of England guy in charge who sat as chairman of Brookfield, and none of that's coming to Canada still. Why is that? And that's the big question. Why? What do we need to do to become, or is there any intention? So, we're digging around to find, is there hope? Is there not? Because that's a big commitment to India. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. India needs a ton of investment. It needs a lot of help with not just greenhouse gases or emissions or whatnot, but pollution. I mean, it needs a lot of work. But our economy needs a lot of work as well. And we need to be considering that instead of what we have is being mired in a lot of infrastructure sectors, like especially resource extraction, infrastructure, anything like that. It's red tape, court battles, ideological distractions. It's all these kind of extremist left-wing ideas of special interest groups get special rights, and that's just a fact of Canada that Canada seems comfortable with, and that makes a big that's an overhanging issue that is costly. Let's just say to the least, it's very costly to hold that position where you feel like you owe people money or you have to pay off certain NGOs or anything like that, and it's not a great place of leverage or strength. So we wanted to kind of look at that this $100 billion in 5 years. Once again, do I think it's smart? Yeah. Do I think it's globally a great idea? Sure. But that's telling us that Brookfield sees that their opportunity of being profitable, of making money, is not Canada. And at the end of the day, it's that simple. If there's a flight of capital to other places, it just means that they don't see the value where you are. Canada is a resource country. It has hydrogen. It has all the oil and gas you need. It's got all of the resources you need for battery energy, and yet they're not interested. I mean, they do invest in Canada, but it's literally meager, to say the least, in comparison to anything like this. And that is a big signal to Canada, if are we on the right path? Is there any indication? And there is hope. I mean, believe me, if I thought there was no hope, I would share that opinion, and I don't think that's the case. But it is that I want people to be informed and to question and to get out there and keep people accountable, because at the end of the day, it's the future of our country that is at stake. We can't keep going down the path we have for the last 10 years without being a massive depression and failure. And there has been lots of indications that certainly Carney, more than other people in that progressive movement, is more pragmatic, and fingers crossed. So I do have hope there. But there's how to make Canada investable. It's not hard. It's actually dead simple. Is it likely? No. So that I mean, I'm laughing because just it kind of sounds silly, but unfortunately, the people in power have an ideology that is counterproductive to wealth creation, to open free markets, to encouraging entrepreneurship. It's not that ideology, and that doesn't need any explaining, or that we don't talk about the politics part, but it's pretty easy. It's pretty obvious. I mean, I remind people that way back in the day, I'd actually studied international politics when I was doing economics as well at university. So I'm well versed in what politics actually is, and I don't mean just someone has a political opinion that's not based on any kind of readings or research. Mine comes from a very strong background of understanding political theory. But once again, that's why we leave it alone, because it's obvious. It doesn't take a lot of energy or work to be able to find out what works and what doesn't. History is a pretty good indicator of what works and what doesn't. And so right now, we're seeing a lot of great movement from the openness to LNG. And now, granted, that's because we've got a government that says we'll launch a $5 billion loan guarantee to give Indigenous ownership so that we can get projects done. That's costly. That's $5 billion in order to get projects done. We've done articles too where we talk about, people go, oh, the oil and gas industry is being subsidized by the Canadian government for years and years. It's technically true, but it's exceptionally misleading and misinformed, because they've basically printed money to fund their project, the government project that they took over. Which, of course, when a government project, the budget goes through the roof. So it wasn't that it was going to any publicly traded company or an Exxon, a Shell, a Suncor. It wasn't going to any of them. It was going to their own project to get the pipeline done. And that's the part that your left winger or your environmentalist leaves out. That the subsidy to oil and gas. It's like, well, it was a subsidy from government to government. That's not the same thing as that they would lead you to believe. What this means, though, to a large extent is, and you're seeing it in the States, you're seeing it in Europe, you're seeing it in small parts, is there has to be a pushback to the climate narrative and the ESG narrative. And that doesn't mean that you don't take data seriously. You don't take that there is climate change. There is. It's that you have to become well-versed in which part of that is completely political ideology and how much of it is the actual, quote unquote, the science. And most people aren't that interested in the discussion, and they're not really going to go deep, like do a deep dive. We do, because we deal with it every day. But most people just turn on CBC, and of course they're just state-run media. They're just going to say what the government wants to say, and that's not factual. I think everyone's pretty clear on that most mainstream news isn't very factual. The unfortunate thing now, too, is that more of the internet type ones that was a bit more nuanced, certainly down the States now, that more right-wing one is now almost doing the same level of stuff, of kind of propaganda type of stuff. And that doesn't make things helpful or handy as well, because it leaves it that you're getting slung ideology from all directions now. And we need less of that and more just direction towards achieving goals and taking action. The great thing that means by taking action is removing red tape, removing studies that need to be done about this, that, and everything else. No, go build out nuclear power plants, which they're doing. They've got 4 SMRs in Ontario that are online. I think it's going to cost about $20 billion, but that's moving forward. Big play starting to work for uranium. Big announcements out of the States. Trump, all for it, all for nuclear and uranium. We've done very well with Cameco. We've been talking about them for quite some time. It's had its ups and downs, but and certainly the last 2.5 months, it's had an exceptional run. But we want to kind of look at this and remind people the overall state too of why is the Canadian Pension Board, or CPPIB, they manage about $714 billion. And it has a very limited investment footprint within Canada. And now people say, well, we live in a globalist world. They need to go get, they need to seek alpha. They need to go get the best returns they can. And yeah, there's obviously a very strong argument to be made for that. If you're in a country that is not performing, is not investable, why would you invest in it? The flip side to that argument is that if you are actually a nation, like if you're actually patriotic and you love your country, you would almost demand that your pension fund support and invest in your country because it's of national interest. So once again, we're back to politics a bit here. It's how you view the world. And if you view the world as a universalist, that we're all the same, everyone's exactly the same, or if you view it as that, no, I'm more kind of those within my reach, those within my borders, I have influence over, I can care about my neighbors, my community, that I can have influence over and can have some impact on. That's a very different belief system than what we have currently in Canada. And we definitely see that, as of March 2025, only 12% of the portfolio is in Canadian assets. That's a decline of 14% from 2 years prior. And of course, despite Canada's rich endowment of resources, critical minerals, green technology developments, you name it, 47% of the assets are in the U.S., and almost very little to none are in any of those extractive. The international emphasis is focused on investing in some projects in other countries, but once again, it just highlights why is there all this signal saying that Canada isn't worth investing in. We are. We have all of the right ingredients to be investable. So I kind of say that, Carney has a chance right now, if he can step away from the ideology side a little bit, of delivering an incredible win. He has that opportunity. It's lined up if he wants to. And we're going to see. It's laid out there for him. And he certainly could deliver it. And I think that, once again, he's pragmatic. He's not the one thing you could say about him is he's not an intelligent person. He is a very intelligent person. There's no question about it. I don't have to like a person or their ideology or not to respect the fact that they're smart. Whether I agree with their decisions or what their higher motives are, I don't know, but I don't pretend to know. But I just look and I think there is an opportunity for him. And I think we see glimpses of it to be open to it, to have a record turnaround here in Canada. And also it's a win for his ideology as well. It's going to take a lot of narrative. It's going to take a bit of money because they have to pivot on a lot of big issues. And a lot of big political, ideological issues that they've been pushing for a very long time in order to get the public on side. And it is a bit of a challenge, but also isn't. They own the media. So, I mean, they fund the media. And he said if he got elected, he'd be giving them about $1.2 billion. So there's a fund there to get the message out. And I think that we're going to see some of that. And I'm very hopeful. And once again, this is someone who's wasn't excited about this election and the turnout. And yet I still, instead of being pessimistic and believing all this news out there, all the terrible, it's all this, all that, said, no. You can find all the terrible and all the things, no problem. It's easy to find problems. It's a bit more challenging if you've got a leader that you didn't vote for, you didn't really like so much, didn't really want, but you also see the positives there to go, you know what? I think that they're coming around. And that's for the good of the whole country. And I'm very hopeful on that. And that could open up a ton of positive signals that Canada's open. And that could be, I think right now the total investable dollars came in mostly in Nippon Steel. There's a $245 million deal, but there's a huge offtake from Total Energy. There's a lot of oil and gas deals being done right now. A ton going to China, going to Japan. LNG is massive. That is going to be huge. We have to shake our head at why there isn't a pipeline to go. Doesn't need to go to Quebec. Just needs to get to St. Lawrence or to the Great Lakes. It doesn't need to go through there if they don't want to, get a little fee for having some pipes run underneath the ground. They had a deal to Germany, where Germany doesn't have to buy from Russia. They could have been supplying that, but they chose not to 2 years ago. So in a final world, Canada has an opportunity right now. It's the same as before the election. It's the same as now. My thoughts are you have to put a moratorium on all the ESG talk. You have to take a big step back from all of that ideology. And it doesn't mean that you don't do things properly. It doesn't mean that stakeholders aren't paid. They always have been here in Canada. They just have. People have to go back like 50 years, 100 years and talk about past things to dig things up. And that's of no value. Only special interest groups get to have that conversation. Every ethnicity has had that in their history, depending on what time frame you want to go look at. But anyways, there's a chance here that Canada could attract the kind of money that the U.S. is attracting, that India is attracting, that China is attracting. Carney he's part of the WEF. He's part of the UN. He's part of that whole group that's funding all of these things. Why is it not flowing into Canada? And we should ask him that. We should hold him accountable. A lot of that money should be coming to Canada to help create these solutions. We've got all the brain power. We've got great workforce. We've got great schooling for the most part. A lot of it's changed, unfortunately, lately. And we've got all the resources. We just need to get unleashed. I was just kind of make a joke that I sound like I'm running for politics. Oh my God. I would be a terrible politician, by the way. I think that's pretty apparent. In any event, we just want to look at what is the best case scenario for mining and extraction in Canada, because that opens up everything. If we became vertically integrated and were able to supply the likes of Waterloo and our big tech people and our, quantum computers here, D-Wave, that's where the first quantum computer was originated. We have so much talent that we would be feeding these metals and minerals into and being self-sustained and become an energy powerhouse in the new energy, as well as transition from the old energy. It's so much win that to me, it's obvious, but I'm not obviously on that level of conversation to see what the goal is there from the likes of a Carney when he is talking to the WF and they have these discussions of what, with, BlackRock and all that kind of elite group there. Their plan is their plan. And we just have to kind of roll with it and hope that that he has the best interest for Canada first, because that's the obvious thing. If you're the leader of a country, that country should come first. And once again, that goes back to, are you a globalist person or do you believe that you have a job to do, you've been hired to do, to run Canada? So I'm optimistic. It may sound like I'm kind of still on the fence a little bit, but I am optimistic because it'd be too easy to be very negative. And we're seeing a lot of deals getting done right now. And that's a good sign. And once we get Canada just a bit of a hiccup back up and people getting a little bit wealthier, they're able to pay their bills, then we're going to see a lot of opportunity grow. And you know what? We could have a good run. As I said, he could turn this ship around. It's up to him. He has the capabilities. He's smart. All the ingredients are there. So let's cross our fingers and hope that happens. In any event, we're excited. There's lots of great projects out there in Canada, in the metal space. And once again, if they say that Canada is closed to business, then we're going to be looking at mining deals outside because they're getting done. There's tons of deals getting done, and people need to be aware of that and to invest accordingly. So anyways, have a great weekend. We look forward to chatting to you next week. It's going to be a busy week next week, and lots is happening. We're going to be talking a lot more about uranium because that's heating up right now as well. And that could give us another good run in the uranium's market here for the next 3-6 months. Anyways, we'll talk to you soon. All the best, everyone.